Well, the fur babies are eating their breakfast this morning. Yeah. What you say, Lucky? Huh? What you say, huh? Go finish your breakfast. Little buddy's eating his. You must not be that hungry. He's down here at my feet because he wanted to follow me. Little buddy's hungry this morning. Lucky don't seem to be too hungry. He gobbled a lot of it up right in the beginning. What you got over here on your side? Huh? Is that where you've been in fights? Or is it just something stuck on your fur? Looks like it might be something stuck on your fur. Yeah. Oh well. And I keep saying I'm going to stake that. Well, I got a stake up to it, but I need to tie that tomato plant up. We had some rain last night, and it kind of blew it over. And it's already got little tiny, not quite marble size tomatoes on it. Look at there. A couple of them. So I need to get something and tie it up so the wind don't blow it over. Yeah, it did rain last night. See puddles on the concrete. My white flowers are blooming there. Lucky. He says, well, I'm pretty too. White flowers are pretty, but I'm pretty. He says I'm pretty too. I'm going to have to trim that bush back, that evergreen. It's just growing crazy. The wind blew all my clematis off, my lavender clematis. You can see the petals all over the ground. But they'll bloom again. I moved my surviving potato plant out here, hoping that Lucky don't get in this pot and lay down, because he laid down in the other one night and he's killed it. And I have seeds coming up, but I've also got bugs eating the leaves. I don't know what kind of bugs are eating flower leaves. But all the little bit of rain we've been getting has sure helped my flowers out here and my rose bushes. In the rock garden. Ain't that right, Lucky, huh? Is that right? The ones out in the big rock garden is not bloomed yet, but it won't be long. Out there where the little man is. And I don't have anything out here where my fountain is that's blooming yet. I think I've got seeds coming up in the top, because I put marigolds and some other seeds up here in the top, and it looks like they're coming up. Look at that. So it'll be full of flowers later this summer when all of them grow. Yeah, I don't think my daffodils are gonna bloom this year. Haven't seen any blooms on them. So So I don't know. Look at this. I got both of them following me. Lucky says, well, I'm just going to lay here and take it easy while you talk. And my aloe vera here is growing, and look, it's got a little baby pup coming up. So that one's going to be producing more aloe vera too. My wisteria, crepe myrtles are looking real good. Even the small one here, that last one I planted, it's looking real good. It's full of leaves and it's as tall as my head. And all these flowers are doing pretty good. They just haven't bloomed yet. They will pretty soon though. I don't like this one in here. And I can't get it out with one hand, so I'll have to come back and work on that later. My Indian paint flowers are fixing to bloom. You can see the buds. And my little crepe myrtle there is still surviving. Pretty soon it'll put down some good roots and it'll just have a burst of growth and end up being a pretty good sized tree. Yeah, is that right? He's gonna play with the bird. Don't think you want to lay down there. You'll be in the water. You'll be in the water. I got some sunflowers that are bursting out. Growing pretty good. I got seeds coming up in here. Right there. Marigolds coming up there. And look at there at my pepper plant. Or my plants, the seedlings coming up in that pot. It won't be long before I'll be pulling them out and planting them. And look what the wind did. Knocked that poor thing over. I don't have too many of the Roma tomatoes coming up yet, but I do have a few of them that's come up. And the orange bell pepper right there in that one. And I think this was the yellow bell pepper right there. So that pretty soon I'll be pulling them out. And look at the sunflowers. I really didn't want to leave them in this pot, but they're getting big on me. Because when the wind blows, it just blows them over. And I wanted to show you, I've got moonflowers that are blooming. It's still early yet, so they haven't closed up, but they'll be closing up pretty soon. I was trying to make the picture bigger. But there's a moonflower, y'all. The first two of the season, because I've got one right here. And I got leaves around it so you can't see it. But there's one right there. Aren't they pretty? They're bigger than your hand, I'm telling you. Look at my hand compared to the size of that flower. And my Indian paints are starting to bloom out here. That's one right there, that orangish looking one. That's what they call an Indian paint flower. My sunflowers are starting to grow out there in the middle. I got wild lettuce growing in here. You know, back a long time ago, and I'm sure they still do, you can pick wild lettuce and cook the leaves, boil them, just boil them so there's nothing left of the leaves. And take the serum from it, boil it down to like a paste almost, and it's a pain medicine. But I've got Indian paint flowers all around here on this side. Look at them all blooming. It's going to be pretty when those sunflowers get up, because they'll shoot up about 5 or 6 foot tall or more. And look at this. There's lots more buds on these flowers, these moonflowers that haven't opened yet. They're just starting to open, y'all. This is the first morning I've had any flowers open on the moonflowers. And my tripod is not cooperating with me this morning. See, there's a perpetual spinach that came back from last year. And I got one coming back over here on this side. And I put some hot pepper seed in there, but I don't know when it'll come up. I got a marigold come up right there. And there's the mums and the sunflowers there. Sunflowers there really shot up. Starting to grow pretty good, and these are too. They look healthy, don't they? And this was, I got 2 sunflowers planted right along the rose bush. The rose bush is still a little one, but it's living in the ground. And there's my 4 o'clocks. That's what that is there, 4 o'clocks. With two or three sunflowers growing in here. Can't wait till the 4 o'clocks bloom. And see my sunflowers that I put here? So, these things were only a couple of inches high when I first put them out. And look how big they've gotten. I haven't put anything else in here with this rose bush. I think I'm just going to leave the rose bush there by itself. But there's a clump of sunflowers right along with a stray moonflower that came up. One of the seed got out there. And there's a sunflower with my mums. See, I don't mind planting a sunflower with a mum because the sunflower get tall enough that the mums will still get sun. And it seems like they live pretty good beside one another, so, because I had them there last year. And there's one of the sunflowers there. There's 3 or 4 of them in a clump right there. A couple of them right there. And I got one right there. But look how much better they're growing in the pot. Because they get better dirt, better soil to grow in. That's a wild lettuce right there. But I don't need that in there. And I'll show you what I was out here yesterday doing. And look at this. My pumpkin is basically taking over the pot. So I don't know what my watermelon are going to be able to do. They're looking kind of skinny. The pumpkin plant is, I should not have planted them all together, I guess. But the pumpkin is already getting ready to bloom. We'll see if it produces pumpkins. And here's my butterfly peas. They're finally starting to grow. And I had to pull my peas out of my strawberries because they were shading out my strawberries too much. Now, if I had them planted in the ground, I could plant a row of strawberries and then maybe 24 feet away from it, I'd put another row and plant my peas. But I planted them together, and there was more peas come up than what I thought I'd planted in there. So they were stunting my strawberries' growth. And I've seen they've done quite a bit just overnight. I got strawberries with blooms on them right there. Little bitty ones. I just hope I can keep Lucky out of it. I don't want him laying on my strawberries. Ain't that right, little buddy? So far, I've not had problems with little buddy getting in my plants. But look at the progress on this stuff. It grows so well out in the hot sun, so I've decided I'm leaving it here. And I've got marigolds, and I think I planted a jalapeno in there. It hasn't come up yet. And I got a pot full of sunflowers here. They're looking good. But I've got I think it's a yellow squash or a zucchini planted there. I got my wandering Jew in one pot, part of it. My jalapenos there are coming up. They're coming up right there in that little square pot. So I'll have jalapeno plants to move. I never did get around to pulling this sunflower out of here. And I've got 2 tomato plants growing. Or 3, because one of them come up as a volunteer. My peppermint's really growing. And look at my bearded iris. The wind blew it over. But they're so pretty. My bearded iris, y'all. That's why I put this grate here, is to help hold these up. If I didn't, the wind would just blow them flat over. They'd be laying on the ground. But aren't those pretty? They're a different type of iris, but they're beautiful, I think. And the little sunflowers I put here, look at what they've done. Look at the size of them. And my clematis just don't like this hot sun out here, so it quit growing for me. All I've got out here is paint flowers, Indian paint flowers, and marigolds coming up right there. And I've got not marigolds, but Indian paint flowers coming up with rose bushes. See there? I got 2 little rose bushes that survived over here on this side. I just hope they survive out this summer. And there's mint. Jalapenos planted there, but I don't see any jalapeno seeds sprouted out. And look at my, I never can remember the name of this bush. Well, I had a tag on it, but it faded out, and I think I pulled it out and didn't put it back. So I never can remember the name of it when I'm doing a video, and then after I pass it or turn off the camera, I remember the name of it. Y'all, why do you let me forget the name of this bush? Some of my subscribers said it gets about 5 foot tall. It's a couple of feet tall now. And this is, I guess this part of it's dead because it's not putting back out any new growth. Rose of Sharon, that's what it is. Rose of Sharon bush. I can't wait to see it bloom. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this pot standing in water like that. It's got holes big enough that it should drain out. I'll have to check on that later. But I've left some of my Indian paint flowers along the shed. Even though, you know, I've covered them up back here. They're gone. Because I've got tons of them out in the front yard. And my peas there, sooner or later, they're going to latch onto that net and start climbing the poles that I put in there. And my lavender, to my knowledge, has never come up. I've got some started in the greenhouse, and if it makes it, then I'll plant some in here. I got little squash, little yellow squash in here. So I uncovered them, hoping that they get pollinated. This is yellow squash here too. And this looks like mostly male flowers here. There's one or two little yellow squash in there, but I've got quite a few male flowers, so there's something to pollinate. This is zucchini. And these are male flowers. And I got marigolds and volunteer tomato plants coming up in there. And this is a zucchini. But it looks like it's all male flowers. I may not have any zucchini this year because if they're all male flowers, the male flowers don't produce zucchini, y'all. My cucumbers are starting to grow, but you gotta kind of guide them along to get them to go up the vine, up the trellis. Like this one, I guess the marigolds have kind of overpowered it to keep it from climbing the trellis. I meant to pull out some of those marigolds, and I haven't done that either, so I'm falling behind, y'all. I spent the last 2 days mowing. Wind is blowing, and now it's got my hair blowing in my face. Can't see what I'm doing. Put this up here and maybe it'll latch onto the trellis. I'm hoping anyway. And my few strawberries here are doing good. I got to pretty soon pull those purple bell pepper out though, because I've got purple bell pepper planted in there from seed, and they're coming up, and I intend to pull those out and put them in other pots so they're not competing with my strawberries. My celery looks good. I got strawberries over on this side too, with a couple of marigolds. Huh? What? Huh? What? Look at him. I guess he likes wood chips. He likes to roll in them. You're silly. You're a silly kitty. You're silly. You're a silly kitty. I'm gonna step on you. My onions are doing good. These were the big white onions, I believe. Or some of them are red. These are the Egyptian walking onions, and you can see they're at the top. They're almost ready to start bursting open. I may have one or two that's already burst open, but they're not ready to break off yet. These are my red onions. One of them survived. Egyptian walking onions. Look at that one. That one's pretty fat. And I think Lucky's been getting up in this pot. But my red onions, I think these are the red onions, looking good. More Egyptian walking onions. My tomato bush. I need to move it. I was working on this the other day and didn't decide where I was going to put this, but look at this. It's full of tomatoes. Little bitty tomatoes. It's just full of them. And I don't know how, I thought they got pretty good size, but evidently that was a determinant. I'm just going to let this legs down on this tripod. They keep falling anyway. But yeah, I thought that was an indeterminate, and I thought I was going to have to stake it up. But it's already putting out so many tomatoes, I don't think it's going to get too big. And I planted a couple of tomato bushes down in there because I don't think my banana tree's coming back. It came back twice, the beginning of the warmer weather, and then we had 2 freezes on it. It came back a couple of inches tall. The first time we got a freeze, it killed it back. It came back again, a couple of inches tall. We had another freeze and it killed it. So I think it's killed the root this time. But I got tomatoes spread out everywhere. That's a red bell pepper there with a marigold. And I don't remember what kind. I think these are Roma tomatoes here. I think all of them that I put out in these buckets were Roma tomatoes. So I don't have to worry about staking them up. And see here, this is what I was talking about. They burst open. And most of them already have sprouts on them, but they've not completely burst open yet. But that's what they're doing. They're bursting open. They're having their babies, so to speak. And I got tomatoes here. Look at that. They're all green, but I'm going to have me a BLT before too long from a fresh tomato out of the garden. And look at this. I got my other pole up, but this little piece of shade cloth is so rotten it's just split open, so I split it the rest of the way. I've got another one ordered that's basically the same size this is. So when it comes, I'll just cut this one out and replace it. And I didn't notice this. This was the top of this pole right here that this was on. And the wind just ripped it off and it's hanging there on the... I got to get the ladder out here and do something with that, because it'll poke a hole in my shade cloth up there. That metal pole will. I have to get it back up there and put some Gorilla Tape on it to hold it on, I guess. Because I didn't put a wood pole here. I used the one that I already had, but I just didn't notice this before. It's a cap that fits over the top of the pole. that the shade cloth is hooked to. So that's my next thing to do. It's still, everything's still wet out here from where it's rained. I put a Roma tomato there. I've got golden tomatoes. I've got more Roma tomatoes. Rutger tomato there. I've got tomato plants started everywhere, and I've still got more to put out. And something's eating these. I sprayed them yesterday, but then it rained on it, so it didn't do a whole lot of good. And see, I thought that tomato plant was an indeterminate. That's what the tag said. But I don't think it's going to get any taller than what it is. So I can plant another viner in here, in that thing. And I think that's a yellow squash. I got Roma tomatoes all here. In my buckets. And I think this is a melon, an early dew melon or one of those. Butternut squash is what it is. So I don't know where that vine will end up going. And this stuff is starting to bloom. It's kind of pretty. I mean, it's got little tiny flowers on it, but it is pretty when it blooms. I got a few okra coming up. I'm kind of disappointed in my okra this year. All this survived through the winter. And look at these. Look at this. Look at that. Snail. Another one here. One of my subscribers said, you could sell those. Well, I don't know who to sell them to. I don't know who would want them. And there's my wandering Jew. It's going to be rooted before long, and it'll start growing like crazy. Yep, tomatoes everywhere. And look at this one. It's not going to get very tall, but it sure did get thick and big, and it's full of blooms. So it should be full of tomatoes as well. So those will be my first tomatoes of the season, are these little celebrity tomatoes, beefsteak. And I think those are the Hungarian hot peppers that came back up as volunteers from last year. My pepper plant there's doing real well. Look at all the rose petals. The wind blew the rose petals off. And here's where I put all those peas that I pulled out of the strawberry patch, because the lima beans didn't come up. I mean, there was maybe 3 lima bean plants come up from all of those seed I put out. So I transplanted my peas from the strawberry patch into my green stalk tower. And I'm hoping they're going to do well here. They're not supposed to be vines, but I don't know. They put out tendrils like they want to latch on to something. So I don't know if they're going to be vines or not. If they're going to be vines, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. But look at my tomato plants here. They just burst up. Probably need to uncover these. I don't know. I'm trying to keep the bugs off of them as well as keeping them moist. I'll let that one alone for now. But I got one of those peas planted in the bucket. And it's fixing to produce something. I don't know what. I've never grown peas that look like them. Look at little buddy. I don't know where. Let me put this down. I need to tie up my... I need to tie up this greenhouse door. But first I got to get my hair up so I can see what I'm doing. I didn't realize the wind was blowing as much as it is. And I can't see what I'm doing for my hair. Get my hair up. Because I've left my lettuce in the greenhouse. It seems to be doing pretty good out here. I mean, for right now it is. I don't know how it'll be later on. It gets real hot. But see how well it's growing in here? I keep the door open in the daytime and I close it at night to keep the animals from coming in here. Because if the armadillos, possums, and all them find out there's something they can get in here, they'll be in here. Little hot pepper there, cabanella. And I don't know, this holy basil is just not doing anything. But I've got more started in here, and those seeds are coming up. And the holy basil is coming up in there, so we'll see what happens. And my geranium, I don't know, I may have one plant if they survive, I don't know. My pea patch here, and I got tomatoes starting there because they're blooming. I think that's another Roma tomato. No, old golden Jubilee tomato there. Look at this. Snails everywhere. And I got my corn growing. I mean, there's a few of the corn stalks that came up, not many. I got zucchini or squash here, tomato back here. Another one of the peas I planted here. I got tomatoes all along these pots. These are the Golden Jubilee. They'll get pretty tall, so I planted them so I could make them go up the trellis. Bell pepper. There's some more of these Golden Jubilees. Some of them are Roma tomatoes. My cabbages. I saw the bugs started getting on them, so I need to come out here and spray them again. The worms, not bugs. There's worms that get on these if you don't keep them dusted. But it seemed like my cabbage liked this spot. And I started every one of these from seed. And I think that's pumpkin started here in my... Pumpkin and a potato plant started in the middle of the compost pile. More walking onions, parsley. I don't have all of these planted yet, but I do have my peppers coming up. Got some of the peas there. My tomato plant here is really doing good. my asparagus, my scallop white squash, my potatoes. I planted more of the peas here. I got tomatoes in these other pots so far. More walking onions. My dill pickles. Well, I guess that's all for the video this morning, but I wanted to show you this as we end it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The clematis. It's just awfully beautiful. Well, with that, I'm going to call it a day, and I'll see you on the next one. Love y'all. Bye now.